What's happening, tubes? Not much going on today. Obviously, it's in a new location or whatever. Sitting in the parking lot of the hospital. My old lady's aunt's in here, whatever. Got you guys clipped onto the phone holder, but it's clipped onto the sun visor. I'm trying to block some of the sun, otherwise it'd be bright as shit. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah, she went in to see how she was doing, and did a little bit of running around. Went to the shoe store, got me some new sandals. My sandals, my new ones. Got some pretty cool looking air fresheners here. They smell kind of manly. I had never seen any of these before. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously I've seen the brand before, but not the kinds. That's pretty much it. Hadn't been doing a whole lot of nothing else today. That's pretty much gonna be the sum of it at this point in time. I'm not sure what we're doing after we leave from here. She just ran in to see how she was doing, and you know, I've kind of got a thing with hospitals. That's the reason why I didn't even care to go in, and you know, I can explain that later, but I ain't got time to really get into it right now. But anyway, I'll hit you guys back up in a little bit. Yep, that's where we are. And down it goes. Well, we finally just did get back. Everything seemed to be okay. For those that kept, you know, my old lady's aunt in your thoughts, I appreciate it. It's amazing how things can change overnight. I'm just glad that they were for the better rather than the worse. Didn't get a whole lot done today. Mostly just spent time with her and had a few things to pick up and run around and get and whatnot. Speaking of which, I think I left part of it in the car, but that's no big deal. As far as the reasoning for me not caring about going into hospitals, well, there's a simple answer for that. Basically, the reason why I don't like going into them is because 99.9% of my life I've been in and out of hospitals. Me, myself, no, but for other people, yes. One of the last few times I was in a hospital involved my mom being in there, and it was because of her blood pressure. It had dropped, and she ended up collapsing at work, and they ended up taking her on an ambulance to the hospital closer to there than here. And you know, it was a pretty terrible experience. Not so much for her, because I mean everything ended up being okay, but in general, a bad experience. One of those times of me going, you're not gonna believe this, but I forgot what actual instance was we went, and it hadn't been too awfully long ago. I know it's been a few years. I don't know what the situation was with a particular person, but the person either had gotten shot or stabbed or whatever and had died. And they, rather than just leaving them in a room or moving them to the morgue where I would think they normally would, they decided to leave them in the freaking hallway. Yeah, in the hallway. So as I'm walking down the hallway, you know, there's obviously stretchers, you know, out in the hallway and stuff or whatever, and, you know, no big deal. Well, until you get ready to turn the corner, and there you go, there's like one or two laying out in the middle of the fucking hallway, and one of them has got a probably, I don't know, a foot by 1 foot section of bloodstained soaked sheet draped over their body. And more than likely the sheet, you know, was placed on them and then the blood soaked into it. But, you know, you get the point. And, you know, this person was covered up from head to toe, so obviously they were fucking dead. Now, is that something that let's just say an adult having a 6 or 7 year old walking that way to visit a relative or whatever would need to be seen? Fuck no. Come on, man. You don't need to be having that shit in the hallways. Hospitals can be some of the nastiest places ever. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not my cup of tea. The last place that I can remember seeing my granddad was in a hospital. Remember now, I was only 3 years old, so the image kind of stuck with me. And him having all kinds of tubes and machines and shit hooked up to him or whatever. Yeah. Obviously, my mom was in a hospital. Different occasions, of course. I've had a few ex-girlfriends in the hospital, but none of them were real serious. But it's just a point, you know. I think the last image of me having a issue with the hospital would have to have been when my best friend died in one, and that hasn't left me to this day, and probably never will. In a few videos back or whatever, I had mentioned it was a video was based upon people dying and death within families and whatnot, and I had explained what had happened to him, and you know, he went 26 years old when he died. So, you know, it's I know it's a part of life, you know, death is a part of life and all, but you can't, you just can't. It's some of the times you're gonna see images that you're not gonna never get rid of, and to this day I haven't gotten rid of them. And you think my best friend died in 07, and here it is, it's 2015, and the image, the day, the phone call, the whole experience is still there. Yeah, that's something that's imprinted in my brain, you know. But anyway, on to a better note. I've got the oil in the filter for my truck, so we're gonna get that whenever we get a day that obviously the weather isn't windy as shit. That way I can have somewhere to put my phone at so I can record, because I'm not going to be able to you know, hold the phone while I'm doing it. I mean, like I said, you know, there's certain parts that I can probably speed up a little bit because it may get boring, and I'm probably going to edit the shit out of it, so, you know, it is what it is. But I don't need the wind blowing into the microphone 100 miles an hour. And yeah, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but the wind the last few days has been hell, let's just say. Let me show you what I got. I figured I'd try something new that I found that this phone can do.
It can kind of record picture in picture, so to speak, and we're doing it right this very second. Now I've tried different kinds of oils, and I've tried different kinds of filters and stuff too, and you know, after a while of realizing that, well, let's just say this much. You know, I had stood by Fram filters for a while, and you know, they did pretty good, but I just seem to have found that the original filter, see if we can zoom in a little bit there on that. Yeah, there's the number. If you have a 98, well, I'm pretty sure any of the 5.7s that would accept this filter would be fine. You know, 5.7 is a 350 cubic inch small block. Anyway, I found that the oil seemed to be a lot cleaner using the factory one versus the Fram, and you know, the price difference is only by a couple of bucks. But as far as the oil is concerned, I got you know, it's a product of Mobil 1, but Mobil Super, 5,000 miles, states against sludge and wear for long engine life, 10W30, 5 US quarts, or 4.73 liters. You know, if your metric system is different. And on the back, you know, it tells you, you can visit us at mobil.com and so on and so forth. And you know, there's the little scale, and I don't know if you can see it too good. I can't really zoom in this mode or whatever, but yeah, that's going to be coming up, like I said, as soon as we get a good clean day to do it all. I don't know when. Let's see, today is Saturday, tomorrow's obviously Sunday, and I know we're supposed to be getting some bad weather here again, so it may be another week before I get around to doing it, or it might be in the afternoon. I don't know. It won't take long, but you know, I try to take my time with stuff, and then plus too, like if I'm going to be giving some educational tips that may benefit you or someone you know, then I want to be able to do the best that I possibly can do. You know what I mean? Anyhow, I'll go ahead and kind of give you a heads up tip. Let me switch this view. One of the helpful tips that I'll be giving is that you can take the actual jug. You got two options. If you don't have something that you can pour your oil directly into from, you know, what you're changing the oil on, if you don't have something that you can just dump it right into, you can actually take the container itself and very carefully take a box cutter or your pocket knife and cut out a hole in the container itself. Make sure you don't cut the top off where the knob is on it, or whatever, or cap. Make sure you don't cut that off, because you're going to use it. And what I mean by that is, so let's just say if you got an old antifreeze jug or a milk jug or bucket or whatever you're going to use to pour your old oil in. If you don't have a drain pan, you can take the old container and cut a hole out in it. And like I said, leave the cap on it. Don't cut the cap off. Don't cut the cap neck off. And you can take the cap off after you're done draining the oil into it and pour it directly into whatever you're going to use to recycle your oil with. Now if you do have a drain pan, obviously you're going to drain the oil into it, and then you can just pour it into the jug or whatever. Once you've poured, it's the process is pretty much like this. Okay, you've got something to drain. You got a drain pan. You drain all the old oil out of your vehicle. You take the new oil and you pour it in. Once you've taken the old oil out from underneath the vehicle, you pour it into the new jug. Put the cap on it. Put a piece of tape across it so that the cap don't come off. Take it to your local recycle center or auto parts store, and they should accept it for free. There you go. That's pretty much right there. Is one helpful tip already. Not many people would know that, especially if you're young and inexperienced and are just trying to learn. Now, when I go to do mine, I'm not sure if I have shit. I may end up having to go buy a drain pan myself. Because I don't have one at the moment. And I just realized that the one I did have cracked. And it wasn't an actual oil drain pan. It was like a small container, like a foot tub. An old foot tub, I think it was. But anyway, I think that's gonna do it. You might as well subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Till tomorrow, stay groovy.